Hey guys, welcome to Thursday's lecture for week 11. Today we're going to be talking about the A3 worksheets that you guys will be filling out for homework. This worksheet is going to help you prepare for our student-teacher conferences, which will be taking place next week. You'll be signing up for 10-minute time slots with me, and we'll probably do this on Zoom. I'll send you guys the link so that you can access the video conference call, and you can also access a page. If you go to the homework section on Canvas under week 11 modules, you will see that there is a link for you to sign up for your conference slot. It's a Google Doc, so you can just add your name to the time that you want to sign up for, and that will just keep everything in order for when we actually hold conferences. And a little bit more on conferences. These are solely for you. We're going to be talking about your work, how things are coming along for A3, any questions that you might have, any concerns, if there are any areas that I think could be strengthened in your argument or you might look into more, and so on and so forth. We'll also talk about how you can develop evidence for your audience today and writing your introduction and your conclusions. And then I do want to ask you guys to look at the student example listed under A3 materials. And obviously we won't be looking at this together, but I ask you to take a look at it and see what it's doing and how it's doing it, and sort of use that as a reference as you're doing these. So for this A3 worksheet, I want you guys to look at the connection between the thesis that you are going to be arguing and who your audience is. So is there a logical connection between these two? And also look at the reason and evidence that you provide and decide whether or not they clearly support the thesis that you've listed. And you also want to make sure that the evidence you include not only restates your reasons, but shows evidence, like illustrates the reasons essentially, or is an example of your reason. So that will appeal to your audience's logos. You also want to look at the counter arguments. Do these seem like reasonable counter arguments? And can you think of any that that you should address that you haven't included, or that you think your stakeholder would bring up while they're reading your paper? And then take a look at the organizational pattern and make sure that it makes sense for your argument structure and audience. So development for audience, it's not enough to just give your audience evidence. You also need to develop it. So how you do that is when you set a statistic, you want to make sure that you're explaining it. You're explaining how it's relevant to your key point and your thesis, and that you're making those connections for your readers. So you want to say how it supports the reason and or thesis, and how it connects with your audience's values, needs, and or knowledge in this issue. So the basic outline of each paragraph of your argument should look a bit like this. Your first sentence will state the reason that you're discussing in that paragraph and or connect to the previous paragraph. You'll then refine that reason, and you'll provide evidence from your sources that exemplify it, and then you'll explain each piece of evidence that you provide, so how it supports your reason and or your thesis. And then you'll give a conclusion for that paragraph and then lead your reader into the next paragraph or reason. So this is something that I want you guys to take a look at on your own. If you download the PowerPoint, just take a look at it, read through this, and answer the questions on the right-hand side. So it's asking, what is a reason that this paragraph is discussing, and what types of evidence does the author use? The next question is, how well is that evidence developed? And the answer for this would be that it's not very well developed at all. So what suggestions would you make for improvements? My suggestion would be to further develop the evidence that's provided so that a reader can understand the connections between each piece of evidence and the writer's thesis.